Two-factor authentication is becoming a common requirement for software applications, but sometimes organizations are reluctant to add the friction of an authenticator app to the login process. And as a compromise, groups of users with access to sensitive data are required to use 2FA rather than the entire user base. So members of an accounting group or systems administrators would be good examples. Microsoft has made it incredibly easy to implement multi-factor authentication in an ASP.NET application, but implementing it for groups of users, it's a little tougher. So obviously, I got a solution for you. My name's Jeff. I'm a SQL developer and a .NET developer. I've been doing this for quite a few years, so I'm here to share my experiences with you. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe to my videos. We'll go ahead and keep producing more as long as you guys are finding some value in it. The key to understanding the solution is that the requirement is not actually an authentication problem, but an authorization problem. Authentication is about validating a user's identity, determining who they are. Authorization is about what the user can do. When we say that the administrators need to use 2FA, what we really mean is that the administrators can't use the application if they've not enabled and passed a 2FA check. They should still be able to sign into the application and update their profile. So they can enable 2FA, and that's why it's not part of authentication. We need to still allow the user to update their profile. So let's look at the claims on a user that has completed a 2FA check. And what we're going to find is a claim with a type of AMR and a value of MFA. The AMR stands for Authentication Methods Reference, and the value MFA stands for Multi-Factor Authentication. And when we find this claim on a user's identity, it means that the user has authenticated with a second factor. And we can leverage this in an authorizations check. Because we want to leverage the existing roles in the application, we're going to need the user's roles to show up as claims in their identity. And we can do this by adding a user's claims principal factory as a service in the program.cs file. It basically takes the user's roles that are recorded in the identity DB tables and it adds them as claims in the user's identity. Now we can get to the business of creating an authorization requirement that looks for these two claims, the multi-factor authentication claim and the role claim, to see if we should allow a user to perform an action. Now, all authorization requirements inherit from the iAuthrization requirement. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to make this one inherit from the authorization handler. I don't want to make it specific to just the administrator role, so instead I'm going to pass in an array of strings, role names, into the constructor of this handler. The important part of this handler is that I override the handle requirement async function. It takes in the handler context and the requirement. And first what I'll do is I'll check to see if the user has the 2FA claim. Then I need to see if the user is in any roles, such as the administrator role. If the user is, I set the Boolean failed equal to true. I can then call the fail or the succeed method on the authorization context to report the result and complete the task. I still need to tell the controller which authorization policy to enforce, and I can do that with an attribute. I've applied the authorize attribute with the name of the policy, so an administrator that attempts to access the admin controller will be required to have 2FA enabled. So let's give this a try. All right, I'm going to begin by logging into the application. And I can go to my profile, and you can see here that I've got my two-factor authentication. It's not set up, so I'm going to go ahead and set up the Authenticator app. And I'm going to use my phone to scan that QR code. Okay, and I can type in my code that I've been given. All right, so now I have 2FA enabled. And if I try to go to the admin page, you'll see I get access denied. That's not actually a bug. What's happened is I've created an identity when I logged in, and that did not have the 2FA claim on it. So in order to get the 2FA claim added to my identity, I need to log out and log back in. So I can log out, log back in, sign in. And again, now I have 2FA enabled, so it's going to require that I put in an authentication code. So back to the app. And I'm logged in. Now if I click on the admin page, 2FA is required to view. So I know I was able to log in and view that page with the 2FA. So that's really all there is to implementing an authorization policy that requires 2FA for certain user roles to access pages on your website. The authorization library in ASP.NET is really awesome. And I think reading about it and learning about how it works can teach you a lot of different techniques in software development. So I'm considering doing an extended series on authorization, where I'd cover things like how to unit test authorization requirements, how to implement resource-based authorization checks, how to make your UI respond to authorization rights. If you're interested in these kinds of things, please leave a comment and ask me to pursue that topic so I know what you would be interested in. All right, I hope this helps you out, and I appreciate you listening. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you the next time.